Hello. Hey, welcome. How are you doing? That last one was Beetlejuicy, right? Beetlejuicy. It's very juicy. It's like you squeeze Beetlejuice, and that's what comes out. Hey, nice to meet you. Get over here. Hey, Chuck. I love Beetlejuice. I'm very excited to see what they do with the second movie, even though I'm sure it's just going to be terrible. I'm going to stay positive, but like daylight come and the movie's gonna suck. Uh, it's just like what 2 decades, 3 decades too late, and just like they should have done Beetlejuice Goes to Hawaii in 1995 or whatever, and it would have been terrible as well, but funny and of the time. Like now, it's just going to be a little uncomfortable, a little weird. I don't think it's gonna. I'm nervous. I'm nervous. I'm nervous. I didn't expect to talk about Beetlejuice, but here we are. I watched the trailer and I was like, I'm excited because everyone looks great and it's really cool to see everyone. I like the idea. I like the fact that Tim Burton is going with physical, just like actual practical effects for the most part, or at least like primarily, to maintain the Beetlejuicy aesthetic, and I'm excited for that. But so I'm hoping for the best. I'm gonna go. I like to set my expectations super low with this sort of thing, and then like hopefully they over deliver. And I'm like, ha, yes, we all win, especially me because I get to enjoy more Beetlejuice. Because who doesn't want more Beetlejuice? Anywho, I'm actually here to answer some questions. So I recorded Dungeons and Dragons tonight with Critically Stupid. I got to be a bard in the monster riddled world of Barovia. For those of you who don't know, we are running through the Curse of Strahd campaign in my Dungeons and Dragons podcast that I'm fortunate enough to be a part of. So far, they haven't fired me yet, despite everything that I bring to the table. So that's cool. So you should go watch that. If you aren't subscribed to Critically Stupid, go to youtube.com/@critstupid and check that out. It's a lot of fun. But after we record, I like to do this and be like, hey, Patreon and or whoever would like to talk to me in the world, because I don't leave my house ever, except for when I work and pick up my son and occasionally go shopping. But mostly I don't go anywhere. I don't do anything. I write. I watch movies and TV and I think about things. That's what I do. I play music sometimes, as you can see by the instruments over here. But that's it. That's my life. So I'm like, oh God, save me! Like be a like interact with me a little bit, because I need something every once in a while, and then I want none of it. Then I want to be left alone for the rest of all of eternity. Anywho, I do have some questions. I'm going to answer them. So let's go. Let's see what they are. Question the first from I can't read the whole name, but it's at my titter tat, as how do you find people to play D&D with? Okay, so if you're online, you can go to Reddit. You can go on. I mean, there are a few like subreddits, and there are also just like people like hashtag like tabletop role playing games, like TTRPGs, and you'd find people to like start a Discord with, or like join Facebook groups and that sort of thing. And it's not so hard to find a group willing to meet. I think the tricky part is really finding people that like you mesh well with, and a table that you want to be sitting at, and not to mention, it's a lot of people have trouble finding figuring out who wants to be the DM, because it's like like the bassist or whatever. It's like the thing in the band that no one really wants to do, but we all could do it to varying degrees of success, with varying degrees of success and talent and such. But like some people are way better suited for that job. But yeah, so like if you're just interested in being a player, you can absolutely go on like Facebook groups, which I know Facebook is garbage, but like there are many groups, and like it's a good place for kind of curating small groups of people, and it's easy to kind of like sift through, and you can see the garbage like rises to the top, and then you throw it out the window, like it's easy to scoop and throw. Yeah, it's not so hard, like in very the social medias. You just kind of be like, hashtags, oh, here it is, and then you just block everyone you don't like, and there you are. You created a harmonious echo chamber of nerds, which I know like people like to like shake their fist at. But if your whole intention is to do something where you're creating a community in which you feel comfortable, like improvising and being a nerdy bard or whatever, that's a good thing. That it makes sense to do that and just be like, hey, I'm curating enough to create a little world. Now I'm gonna, when I'm on this, in this particular land, I get to be this particular person. That's what that is. Otherwise, you're just gonna have people going over there and be like, you're not really a wizard. Like, this isn't like, yeah, it's not an echo chamber if you get rid of those people. So just like, get rid of those people. Don't let them tell you what you're doing. But if you're looking for like a real life group, you can look at comic shops. You can look at see if there's a local like a local gaming store. Like I know where I live, there's one called Dungeon Games, and like they play locally. And then you can find a spot at a table, and people will invite you in. It's like a vampire situation. Anyway, there are a lot of ways. I know you can literally just ask on social media if anyone would like to start a game with you, and people will. It happens. That's actually, I mean, how I found my critically stupid was someone, Alex, just posted, made a post and said, would anyone like to join this thing? And I was like, I very much would like that thing if you will have me. I didn't think they were going to invite me, but they did. And so, yeah, here I am. All right, let's go. Daily Downing, hi Daily, asks, didn't you say earlier it was for Patreon? That means I could ask, but I wouldn't know if I got an answer. Correct. So what happened previously on Anthony Posts on Twitter? I said, hey, I'm going to make a video for Patreon if anyone would like to ask some questions, so I can do an ask me anything type of thing, Q&A. And I realized that like 3 people saw the post after like 10 minutes, and I was like, this is being buried because I used the word Patreon, and that's that's you have to unfortunately kind of like be circuitous, and like you have to find your way, like filter out certain words and find a way to post it, so the community that you're on will see it. So I made a new post where I didn't use that word. So that's what happened daily. And I don't know, maybe I'll post this. It doesn't matter. So Fowler asked, once you defeat Ganon and prove yourself to be the best elf of Hyrule, what game will you stream next? Assuming you continue to stream, which I hope you do. I find them enjoyable. For your information, thank you, Fowler. For those of you who don't know, I've been streaming the Legend of Zelda, the very first quest, the very the original Nintendo Entertainment System Legend of Zelda. I've been playing it for the first time ever as an adult person. I mean, for the first time ever in my life in general, but as an adult person. And it's been fun. It was like an arduous, just tedious, like just depressing task to begin with. But it was fun. It's been entertaining the entire time. I love that people show up every week and watch me on Twitch and like talk to me through things and like suggest like help me. People have helped me. It's very nice. What am I going to play next once I beat this game? So I assume it's going to take me. So okay, I'm in the last level of the game. I've already gotten the secret. I found my way through to like secret places. Now I have to find my way to the boss, fight my way to the center of this dungeon, and beat the Goblin King Ganon, and get my baby brother back. Get my baby brother back. That felt so good. Once I do it, if I do it, I will. But once I do it, I don't know. I was thinking about going on to like the next Zelda game, but I kind of just want to like I might take a Zelda break and just like I'll play like a different old game that's like I don't know. I'm not sure yet. If you have any requests or suggestions, let me know. I don't I, like I kind of want to play something where like it's fun to like explore and go around, but I don't want people to watch me die a billion times again. So I'm not gonna play like Super Ghouls and Ghosts or whatever because like I'm just gonna die over and over and over, and no one wants to watch me do that. I mean, maybe you do, but if you do, it's not really. It's like for me, it doesn't seem that entertaining. So I don't know yet. I haven't put a lot of thought into it. There are a lot of games that like I would like to play, but I don't know. I want it to be something fun. I mean, I might just try I might just go on to Zelda 2, but I also might just skip ahead and just do like a Link to the Past or something but I think it's pretty much the same game. Isn't that pretty much the same game, but it's just better graphics? I don't know. I have to look it up. But yeah, the truth is I haven't really thought much about it. I'm trying to just like defeat Ganon right now. Okay, let's see. Andy J. Clark asked, "What do you believe to be the best D&D class, and why is it Ranger?" That's his first question. His second question, I think, is really good. This question, I mean, no shade thrown on this question, is a good question as well. I'm just, why is it Ranger? First of all, it's not Ranger for me, and the reason it's not Ranger for me is because I've never wanted to be Steve Irwin. Like, I'm not a person who's ever been like, who I really want to be, Crocodile Dundee. Like, I'm not like I don't see like, or like even like an Indiana Jones type, although he has more of like the anyway that did, but I like, I'm not like, oh, I need to be this like woodsman, like, but fighter guy. Like, I'm not, I like sorcerers, and I like magic users. I really do. My favorite thing to play as, aside from the bard, like I really like playing as the bard. This is my first time doing it. It's been freaking fantastic. I don't like, something I don't like about it is that there's a little bit of, or not at my table. I'm just saying, but like in general, each class kind of has its own like presumptions and like prejudices and such. Like, I just made fun of the Rangers, but to that effect, like I feel like, at the bard, like people expect you to be a certain way and like charismatic and such, and that's kind of why I like having fun with it and making like a silly kind of naive ridiculous bard who might be able to persuade you to do things, but not because he's super charismatic and so like sexy or whatever. I like playing with those tropes. But my favorite is probably like a wild magic sorcerer, like I or like a yeah, like I like the idea of like wild magic. Like I like a character because it reminds me of like superheroes. It reminds me of like a Superman discovering his power. Or like, like when you realize like, oh my gosh, there's this thing inside me. It's Teen Wolf, it's where it's just like suddenly I'm furry and oh my gosh, how do I reconcile this with who I am as a person as far as I know myself, and who am I now and what does this mean? But also, oh my God, I could shoot with lightning out of my eyes or whatever. That's fun for me. Like, I really enjoy that. Whereas like I can see the appeal of other characters and like like certain wizardry and such where you have like, oh, I'm studious and now I understand how, this whole relationship. I have this relationship with magic and I have to say these words and do this thing and go through this series of this procedure, and it's it's the emerald of magicians. I get that. You want to be like, bam, abracadabra, bam, or whatever. um Come on. So, anywho, I should have said shabam. That makes more sense. Um, but but I don't know. I like it. I like the like something being thrust upon you and having to deal with it, because I feel like it's kind of like what we do in life, right? Like we have this weirdness thrust upon us, both good and bad, all the time. We're constantly stuck in this strange, just maelstrom, of nonsense. This like I don't know, just like this freaking frustrating dominoes effect that we have to suffer through of other people's actions and how our own are affected by them and such. And it's a mess. It's a mess. But I like that. I like that. I like dealing with the chaos magic and having to learn how to navigate those things. Or it's fun. So my his second question, Andy Clark's second question is like, it makes me laugh, is so it's, which DC superhero or villain would make the best DM? Okay, what DC superhero or villain would make the best DM? I'm gonna answer hero and villain, right? So like, the hero that I think would make the best DM, I mean, okay, if I'm going with like all of DC heroes, best DM, I'll be okay. Obviously, not anyone in the Justice League, right? Like right off the bat, boom, no one in Justice League. I'm gonna say my like probably Plastic Man, off the top of my head. I think okay. I'm gonna say no, nay. I'm gonna say the best hero DM from all of DC would be Kyle Rayner as a Green Lantern, using his power ring to create like a fun, like the illusion of what you're seeing as a DM, as he's telling a story. He's an artist already, so he's painting the picture of the world as he's DMing for you, and I think he'd be fantastic. As far as villains are concerned, two pop right out, and it's like both in Batman's Rogues Gallery, which are Two-Face, because it would be so funny to watch him just like try to. I mean, he has to use dice, and like what's Two-Face if not like dependent upon his tools and objects and such. So like he's really good with the rules and recognizing that sort of thing, and like character motivations and such. However, my favorite answer that I just thought of is Clayface. Clayface would be freaking fantastic. He's an actor already. He would be able to, I mean, he would become the characters as he's, like spinning, like weaving this tale. I think that he's probably most capable of doing that of all of the villains. I mean, like aside from the others would be, like who would be really good? Mad Hatter would be really good. And I mean, you could say Scarecrow. Scarecrow would be really good if you're doing something like dark. If you wanted to go like the dark end of like Barovia or whatever, and you're like, this is a terrifying situation in which you're basically you're it's all mental as D&D always is, but you feel as if you're living it. That would be really cool. But I'm gonna stick with the Green Lantern, Kyle Rayner, and I mean, I'm sure any Green Lantern could kind of do it, but I feel like he'd be specifically the best because he's more artistic. And freaking Clayface. Let's see. Whisper in a Hurricane asked, if someone gets hit with a hold spell, how do you decide if they fall over or not as a DM? Okay, I don't know. I'm not a DM, and I don't know the hold spell very well. I'm gonna imagine it's just like, they just freeze in place. I like the idea that like depending on what their next move is, they would either fall over or not. Because I don't know. I don't think they'd fall over. I think like a hold spell you freeze. Like I think if I were to write a hold spell, I'd imagine it's more like a freeze, like time freeze spell where they're not moving anymore. And maybe once it's released, they'd have to roll, like do like a saving throw to catch themselves because their body wouldn't necessarily still be in the same position to respond. I don't know. That's interesting though, because maybe they would. Maybe that is just they would just do whatever naturally their body would have done, but would they atrophy depending on how long the hold spell is holding? Yeah, I have to know more about spell. I'm not knowledgeable enough to answer this question. I'm sorry, but I don't think I would imagine that in most cases you'd make them fall over if it were a funny campaign, you would make them just catch themselves with a maybe possibly with a dex saving throw or with some kind of saving throw if you want to be more serious about it. But yeah, that's my answer. Okay, let me see. Roran Stronghammer asked, favorite animal, creature, fake or real, don't matter. Favorite creature of all creatures, all the creatures in all the land. I mean, it's really hard to not say like freaking gremlins, like gremlins. That's, I mean, one of my favorite creatures. They're incredible, right? I mean, because they're both adorable and awesome and malleable and freaking it just I love it. I mean, I know a lot of people love to hate on Gremlins 2 because it is silly and cartoon. It's a cartoon of a live action film, but the like the spectrum of creatures that we get in that movie and how cool they all are and look and like how much fun it is and like yeah, I'm gonna say Gremlins. That just feels right. Fowler also asked, if your D&D character perma died, what's your backup character? Now, Fowler, I'm gonna say I won't think about my backup character. I'm sorry. I love you, but I can't. I can't. Do you want to know why? Because much like when I think of a story, if I think too precisely on the story, I'll fall in love with it. So if I'm like, oh, I'm supposed to be writing Deathless right now, and then suddenly I have this new idea and I start thinking about it too much, I won't want to write Deathless anymore. So like I don't like my character is already sort of naive and silly and fun, like throws himself instinctively into trouble. I don't want him to have a death wish on top of that because I want to play with a new character. So I don't know what my backup character would be, but it would probably be someone who is probably I don't know, probably more confident, And I do like playing the naive characters though, and I feel like our game kind of needs it every once in a while, or at least that's for me. So that's, I don't know. Maybe I would just do something similar. Just Arnold Part Two. It's Barnold again. I don't know. Okay, so let me see. Paige asked, best new movie you've watched recently. I enjoyed Monkey Man. I thought it was a lot of fun. I didn't know anything about it going in, so it was kind of cool to experience that. Also, no, you know what? My favorite movie that I watched recently was Glenn Ross. I knew nothing about that movie except for that Alec Baldwin was in it and did a stupid speech where I was like, okay, everyone loves this speech for some reason. It's not great. I mean, the speech is good. I mean, the speech is well performed and it sounds like something that that particular character would say. It's written really well. When I say it's not good, I just mean like he's a jerk, and like who wants to? I mean, it's not a great thing to hear, you know. And he's what he's saying isn't something that you want to tolerate from anyone, you know. So it's so I knew that Alec Baldwin was kind of a jerk in it, and I was like, all right, I don't know what this movie is, but I put it on because it's a classic movie. They like I've seen that referenced a bunch. You know, the coffee is for closers. Like put the coffee down. I've said like I've seen that reference and things. Kevin Smith has referenced it in movies like directly, and so I was like, I'm gonna watch this. It is so beautiful. That movie is so gorgeous looking. The colors are phenomenal. It's so well acted. It's very well written. It feels like a play because it's based on a play, but it's also written by the playwright who wrote the play, David Mamet. So it's like it's just all so well done. It's well performed, well shot, well lit. Like everything in it is excellent, and it looks phenomenal given like when it was shot. And it's just I don't know. I was really blown away by it. I also really like the simplicity of the story while it has this interesting structure and sort of like kind of like fun nor like moral weaving of characters that's going on. I mean, it's not necessarily incredibly complicated. You see these characters, you understand how they're flawed, and you see with what they're like, you see their motivations and what they're capable of and willing to do, and it's fun to watch, you know. And I really enjoyed it, so I enjoyed watching it all together, and it's my best movie I've seen recently. Um, Favorite horror movie couple? Jason Voorhees and his machete. Freddy and his glove. No, okay. Favorite horror movie couple. Let me think. Horror movie couple. I mean, obviously it's gonna be Chucky and Tiffany, right? Chucky and Tiff, like that like they're it. That's it. That's the answer. Along the lines of are they still together? Which movie couple do you think had the biggest chance of staying together? Okay, so I used to do a podcast called "Are They Still Together?" Which my co-host asked me to take it offline because it was embarrassing. But I was proud of it. I thought it was fun and funny. It was a good conversation. But I had the idea to do a podcast where we talked about whether or not couples stay together after movies. You know, like the credits roll, are they still together? And what couple do I think has the most likely chance of staying together? I mean, there are couples that would stand the test of time, right? Like I even couples that break up in the movies, sometimes I'm like, yeah, they'll get together. You know, like I feel like there's a reason we like I mean, we have the before sunset, you know, before we have the what is it, before midnight, before sunset, after sunset. Those movies where it's like those people should just like every 10 years they'll get together even if they get divorced and back together and back like it's like they'll find each other. But okay, let me see. What's a movie where I feel like they're sincerely going to end up together? I I mean, When Harry Met Sally, because it's a fantastic story and you get to see their entire relationship, and like it does take them a while to find what that is, and which is really nice and interesting, but also they're old by that point. I'm like, they're not going anywhere. They know who they are. You know, like it's at that point there's no affectation, there's nothing to hide, there's no like I'm like they're both older, for like kind of flawed, ridiculous characters who have gone through a bunch of things and experienced things together, and they see that and know that and recognize that in each other. And yeah, if they choose to be together at that point in their lives, as they are, they're gonna stay together. I don't, there's no reason not to. So yeah, Let me, yeah, I mean, that's enough. I mean, of course, you know, you have the Wesley and Buttercup, which, yeah, you're not going to tell me Wesley and Buttercup are going to break up. I don't care. Like, no, they live forever and ever and ever. How dare you? Okay, let's see. Favorite kill in any movie. Oof. Favorite kill in any movie. I'd need more time for this one. I do. I just need more time. I like. I mean, the boxing, the boxing on the roof, and Jason Takes Manhattan when he punches that guy's head off is just like the funniest. I remember, like, I laughed. I watched that scene. Oh my gosh, it was so funny. It was so funny. The okay, the scene where Jason Voorhees in Jason X is beating the digital campers with, like, just he has them in a sleeping bag and he's beating them after they said they love premarital sex. That, I mean, it's not technically a kill death scene, but it is, and it's so funny. Every death scene in every Leprechaun movie. Oh my god, so funny. Okay, let me see. Best practical effects in any movie. My favorite are probably the Monster Squad, just in general, but like it's hard to not say The Thing, which is also up here, but you can't see it. But like it's, I mean, The Thing is for good reason, has, you know, it's well known for its practical effects because it's freaking gorgeous. You know, I feel like even though like some of it does look kind of silly, I still like, I feel like An American Werewolf in London still has the coolest werewolf transformation, and like it was all practical and it looked really neat. And I don't know, I've never seen anything else like that. The only other thing that I'm like, oh, you know what has the coolest practical effects of all time? The movie Freaked. It just does. The movie Freaked has the neatest practical effects, and it's not because they look realistic. It's because they are cartoons, and it looks awesome. It's one of my favorite things. I love that look, and it's just, you know, it's one of my favorites. It's, I like the cool stylistic heightened reality, like kind of surreal. It doesn't look like it belongs in our world. It's this uncanny valley, you know, feel to it, but it also feels spooky in a fun way. And only it's hard to achieve that. Not a lot of I feel like I became Chris Walken for a second, but like not a lot of movies do that. You know, it's just like it is it's a fun thing to do. And it's a hard aesthetic to find, or I don't know, maybe they do it unintentionally, but I love that. Like in Freaked, another good example I think is in Highway to Hell, the creature in that. And then also if you ever see Night of the Demons 2, which it's the effects are done by the same person who did Highway to Hell, and it's the effects in that are so cool. The practical effects are awesome. So yeah, that, and also of course Gremlins. Let me see, what do you wear under the wolf onesie? No, no, come on. This isn't OnlyFans. You know, I wear, I mean, I've never, what should I wear under that wolf onesie? Honestly, historically, I've just worn whatever I have on, and I just put that on and I'm like, ooh, I'm hot. I take off the onesie. Um, but now I'm curious. Like, what would that be like? It has a butt flap, that onesie. So like you don't have to wear any, they're assuming you're not wearing anything under that wolf onesie. You know, just me and the moon. Just anyway, that's all the questions for the day. I feel like I talked for way too long, and I'm sorry, and or you're welcome. I don't know how this works, but I hope you're all having a good night. I'm gonna go get some rest. I love you. I'm thankful for you. I hope you're all, you know, happy with my ridiculous answers on whatever I'm doing on Patreon. Let me know if you have any suggestions, if you have any questions, if you want me to answer your questions, or, you know, feel free to ask them below and I'll get to them in the next video. Hopefully I'll try my best. But anyway, I hope you have a good night, and, you know, thank you.